Will you help me finish my sentence? Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. Awesome. We all know that song. We all know what EIOs are, right? What the heck is an EIO? Have you ever asked yourself what an EIO is? Well, I have cracked the code. EIO is the key to transforming how we accomplish goals. It opens the door that is in the way of accomplishing our goals. Let me do a quick survey. Who in here has ever set a goal? Oh, okay, good. Pretty unanimous. How many people have ever been disappointed with the result of the goal that they set? Yeah, that's what I thought. It's a universal experience for all of us as human beings. We set goals and we don't hit them. Or we hit some of them, or we get close. By the time we're done today, I want to help us to reframe how we think about our goals. I want to help us or suggest a way to achieve them more effectively. And in the end, help us to improve our long-term view of our growth and our goals. And we're not going to leave old MacDonald behind. He may yet have some lessons for us on his farm. I want to tell you a story eloquently about a long-distance runner. Me. When I was a sophomore in high school, I got to take a PE class. It was a physical conditioning class. And you know what we did to physically condition? We ran. And we did a time trial at the beginning, and we did a time trial at the end, and I improved. I got better. In fact, I got so good, the coach said to me, "Hey, Miller, you should try out for the track team." Well, that was coming up. Well, sure, coach, I'll do that. So I showed up for the track team. And I said, if I'm going to be part of a track team, I've got to set a goal. I want to run a 5-minute mile. Well, as it turns out, by the end of the season, I ran a 5-minute mile. I was like, wow, this is pretty easy. I could be pretty good. Well, next year when track comes around, I'm going to try out for the track team again. So I did. And my junior year, I got there and I said, I need to have a goal. Well, the school record is 4 minutes and 19 seconds. I'll hit that goal. I'll do it. And I worked hard. I trained with everybody. I really focused. I got excited. I got motivated and all those kinds of things to focus on my goal. And I got to the end of the year and I was only 5 seconds faster. I was just under 5 minutes. Like, wow, that didn't work. So I made a decision. My decision was that I was going to start working on next year's track season this year. And I decided for the summer I was going to run 800 miles. I did it. I ran 800 miles. I slept more, I ate more, and then when school started, I started morning workouts and afternoon workouts. 2-a-days. I ran thousands of miles that year by myself. Nobody was running with me. And I got to the spring track, and I was really fast. My times were well under 5 minutes. I got to the state track meet. This was my opportunity for my best time. And I ran my best time. 4 minutes and 21 seconds. I failed. But it turns out that I got so much more out of the failing at my 4:19 goal than I ever did at succeeding with my 5-minute goal. And that is in summary, that is the point of everything I'm talking about. I made a shift. The difference between what happened at 5-minute goal and 4-minute 19 goal was I made a shift in my mindset. And the shift in my mindset was not focusing on the goal, but focusing on the process. I was not focusing on the results. I was focusing on what I needed to do to accomplish the goal. And the shift is what I call an expected ideal outcome, an EIO. Taking the pressure off of myself about the thing that I've got to accomplish, the thing that I've got to do, my goal, and trading it for the process. What do I need to commit to for the long term, which when I do it for the long term, I will actually get closer to my expected ideal outcome. That is the power of an EIO, shifting the mindset from results to process. Imagine old McDonald's farm. If all old McDonald was focused on was results, I want to have so many gallons of milk this year and so many eggs. But he doesn't focus on the process? It's unthinkable. No farmer could ever just focus on the goal. They've got to focus on the milking every day. They've got to focus on the feeding of the cattle. They've got to focus on the care of their chickens. Their moo-moo here and click, cluck, cluck there will never survive. They will never be effective without the daily focus on the process. So here are 3 takeaways for the EIO mindset. 3 P's. Process. The expected ideal outcome presses us to shift our focus to define and execute the process. When we think about our goals or our outcomes through an EIO mindset, we think about when I do this, when I do these things long enough, consistently enough, over time, I will begin to realize my expected ideal outcome. Number 2 is by setting that expectation and that shift in my mindset, and I start to practice, what starts to happen is I begin to develop a passion for the process and care less about the outcome. That doesn't mean I'm still focused on it. It's still motivating, but I care more about the process than I do the outcome. James Clear wrote a book called Atomic Habits. Pretty famous book. Some of you may have heard of it. He says, success is the product of daily habits, not once in a lifetime transformation. That's what I was trying to do with the 5-minute mile. And then finally, number 3, progress. Progress and growth toward our EIOs is a byproduct of increasing passion for the process. James Clear says, ultimately, your commitment to and passion for the process will determine your progress. So my question for you now is, what's a goal that you have that you've struggled to accomplish? Do you want to change it? Is it important to you? What would happen if you shifted your mindset from the outcome to the process? You adopted an EIO mindset as opposed to a results mindset. I think old MacDonald needs one more verse in his song. If old MacDonald had a goal,